Lesson 4-3, Evaluate Algebraic Expressions. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to apply the order of operations to evaluate algebraic expressions when values for variables are given, as well as combine like terms in algebraic expressions. Don't forget to pause the video as we go along today when you need to stop and take notes, and rewatch any part that you need to as we go along. Let's take a look at today's problem. Some students are visiting a science museum. They pay $7 per student and a group fee of $25. Write an algebraic expression for the total cost of the trip. So we're going to use the variable s to equal the number of students. When we take a look at the problem, we have 7s because we have $7 times the number of students because we don't know how many there are, plus the extra group fee of $25. So that's our expression that we have. Now, if they give us the number of students, they say there are 124 students going on the trip. So we can write that down, 124 students going on the trip. What is the total cost they will pay for the trip? To find the total cost, evaluate the expression 7s plus 25 when s equals 24. So now we can plug this 124 students. We can plug that into our variable s since now we know what it equals. So now we'll rewrite the equation to being $7 times 124 plus $25. Don't forget, when they're telling us to evaluate the expression, that means we need to solve it. We can't just leave it in this algebraic expression form. We need to actually find the answer. So when we multiply 7 times 124, that equals 868. You can always do that part on scratch paper. Plus $25. And that equals $893. So the students will pay a total cost of $893. Okay, in our next example, we have 7 plus 3 times x to the third power minus y. They've given us the values, so x equals 2 and y equals 4. The directions say to evaluate the expression, which means we're going to solve it. We're not just going to rewrite this expression. So when we plug those values in, we have 7 plus 3 times y, which would or x, which is 2 to the third power minus 4. So I've plugged in those values and now I just need to solve. So I keep the 7 plus, my order of operations tells me I need to do my exponents here, 2 to the third power times 3. So that's plus 3 times 2 to the third power is 8 because I've done 2 times 2 times 2 minus 4. Now I go and I do my multiplication first, so I have 3 times 8. So I'm going to rewrite the 7 plus 3 times 8 equals 24 minus 4. Now the next thing to do, all I have left is adding and subtracting, so I just do that from left to right. So 7 plus 24 equals 31. I'm going to rewrite that over here. 31 minus 4, which equals 27. So there's a few parts to this. First, we need to plug in our variables up here. That's our first step, plugging those in. And so that then we rewrite it. Then we need to go through our order of operations as we work through and solve the problem. Okay, in our next example, we have 12 plus a squared over b minus c. So our first step is to plug in. They've given us the variables here, what they each equal. A equals 4, B equals 0.3, and C equals 0.2. So our next step is to plug in all of those values. So we'll have 12 plus our A equals 4, so that's 4 squared, over B, which is 0.3, minus C, which is 0.2. So now we have that all written out, and now we just need to go through our order of operations to solve. So we'll start here on the top with our exponent. So we have 12 plus 4 squared, that's 4 times 4, that would be 16, over 0.3 minus 0.2. So our next step is to go ahead and add that up top and do the subtraction on the bottom. So 12 plus 16 equals 28 over 0.3 minus 0.2 is 0.1. And now we just divide those, and our answer equals 280. Okay, now you need to just go ahead and work on problems 1 through 4. Pause the video while you do that, and then we'll start on the next part of your notes so you can finish the lesson. Okay, for this part of the lesson, we're going to learn how to combine like terms. So here's the 2 vocabulary words that you need to write in your notebook. Terms. Those are parts of an algebraic expression that are separated by an addition or subtraction sign. And then like terms. Those are terms that have exactly the same variable parts. So in the equation, 7a plus 10a equals 19. This 7a and this 10a, those have the same, exactly the same variable. Both have an a, so those are like terms. You can combine like terms and then evaluate expressions, and this simplifies your work at the end. So let's take a look at an example. Let's take a look at the first problem. 12w minus 5w plus 30. So to make this simpler, instead of plugging this w in 2 different places here, we could plug it in here, and then we'd have to multiply twice. A simpler way would be to combine these 2 terms because they're like terms. They both are w's. So let's go ahead and do that. So when we have 12w minus 5w, we just look here at the 12 and the 5. 12 minus 5 equals 7w. We bring that variable down, plus 30. That's a much simpler equation. So now we'll plug in what the w equals. So 7 times 1.5 plus 30. Now we need to multiply the 7 times 1.5, and that equals 10.5 plus 30. Then we just add that up, and we get 40.5, which is the value of the expression. So remember, your first step will be to combine like terms. If numbers or the expressions have the same exact variable, you would just add or subtract, multiply or divide just the numbers like you would as if the variables weren't there. Then you write the variable down. So let's look at another example. Okay, our example is 8c squared minus 6c plus 3c squared. So our first step will be to combine like terms. If I look here, this is a c, that's a c, and that's a c. But remember, they all have to be exactly the same. This is c squared, this is just c, and this is c squared. We can't combine this one with the other two because it's not squared. So we're going to just combine the 8c squared plus, because we take the sign in front here, 3c squared. So let's go ahead and combine those. So 8c squared plus 3c squared equals 11c squared minus 6c. Now we can combine, now we'll put our value into here. So we have 11 times 4 squared minus 6 times 4. Okay, so now let's compute the equation. We have 11 times 4 squared. 4 squared is 16, and when I multiply 16 times 11, I get 176, minus 6 times 4 is 24. So 176 minus 24 equals 152. So don't forget that we're combining exactly the same terms, and then we plug in the values, and then we compute the expression. Go ahead and finish today's math lesson. You have problems 5 through 13, it looks like. Rewatch any part of the video that you need to, and have fun.